Does any other member seek recognition?
Mr.
Chair
Chairman,
recognizes Ms. Greene.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Dumb.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising.
Jewish
Okay.
space laser lady.
Who's advising who? What? Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath even you,
order of
That's
your committee.
beneath even you, Marjorie. I don't think it is, Raskin. And you can tell the caveman from North Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what she really wanted to call Crockett, I guarantee you 100% was the N word. For Marjorie Taylor Greene to actually tell another human being that they have no idea what they're talking about. The size of the balls on this lady, right? I'm going to need a pronoun check.
Trump is the new Adolf.
Welcome to the Chud Report. I am your host, MJ. Oh, what? Yeah, Chad's another guy. We can get into that later. But let's get into the episode. Hit that thumbs up if you like it. Get us in that good algorithm. And let's shut up. Let's talk about this hearing today.
Please.
There's a point of order.
We have a point of order. Mr. Lynch, state your point.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to ask the parliamentarian if your conduct here
And
in
we're gonna get to
raising
this
money
later.
in connection
Lynch
with
is
this
making a
hearing,
great point right here.
is referable to the Ethics Committee within this hearing. Is a motion in order to refer your conduct and your abuse of
It's not a
process?
point of order.
Mr. I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack
Meeting will
the
suspend.
physical
Meeting will
appearance of another
suspend.
person?
Are your
Move
feelings hurt?
her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play. with
Baby
me.
girl?
We're
I
gonna,
don't
we
know.
are going to move, and we're
Is there anything more to republicanism in this day and age than saying something horrible, trying your hardest, without any wit attached at all to try to offend someone, and then be like, and then call them a snowflake? I think that's all republicanism is at this point. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene has a job. That's why the intellectuals in North Georgia will put her in again next year, even though this is how she behaves on a daily basis. But when you're Fox News and you've been building up Comer's sham hearing for the past 3 years, the hearing whose only purpose is for him to fundraise and to siphon tax dollars to waste time, just so Hannity, Ingram, and Tucker, before he got fired for costing $1 billion, all this is just so they can take it, they can distort it, they can show you their clips, not tell you what actually happened, that the only witness they've had in this whole investigation turned out to be a disinformation agent for Russia. I wish I was joking. The only person that's gone to jail for this sham hearing where they're throwing these hissy fits is their own witness. So when you have nothing to talk about, and Marjorie Taylor Greene throws out physical insults to one of the few black congresswomen in D.C., this is what Fox News goes to. This is what they lean on.
Well, I tell you, as a woman who wears fake eyelashes every day, I just love them. All it was missing was a snap to go with that girl, baby girl. Anyway.
Sure. I'm sure Fox News had you say that line because you're a woman who wears eyelashes, who wears fake eyelashes every day. I'm sure that's why this segment was left up to you. Because Fox News, like the Republican Party, knows there's no point in keeping tokens if you're never going to spend them. As a woman, and leaving out the skin pigmentation, as a woman, and then transforming yourself into girl, baby girl, you know, that's the value of this lady to the network. A network whose prime time is filled with nothing but white hosts who promote white nationalist, borderline neo-Nazi agendas every single night. So girl, baby girl it. Because Fox News producers know that it's probably not a good idea. Fox News, who fined almost $1 billion, they know it's not a good idea to have white-ass Laura Ingraham snap her fingers and do a caricature of a black lady. You know, so they give it to her. Here's your paycheck.
Ms. Greene, do you wish to strike your words?
I have 4 minutes and 21 seconds to speak.
Do you
I
not
think we have to do the
understand
motion
the rules
first.
of your job?
And then,
Did you miss
unless there's another
orientation?
motion, then you'll be recognized again. But I believe there's another motion coming. So, you agree to strike your words?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
agree.
Ms. Greene agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to
recognizes
apologize. No, no, no. She
Perry.
needs to
Okay,
apologize.
hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Greene
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then
Okay,
you're
reserve
not
the right
striking
to
your
object.
words.
I am
You're
not
retracting.
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
Pretty
minority.
self-evident.
You're not.
Yeah,
out of order.
you don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike the.
Wow. AOC does not have enough intelligence, early man here says, to debate her. And to any of the MAGA snowflakes out there who've made it this far in the video, let me save you from commenting, and I'll address it right now. Yes, physical insults on my YouTube channel are not the same, not in the same ballpark, not in the same universe as congressmen and congresswomen at their job, their place of work, openly throwing them out when debating an issue. And the reason you don't know the difference between the two is the same reason you have a red hat on your head. It's because you're an idiot. I'm not going to go into work and tell Linda in accounting that she's an idiot because she can't see past her fake eyelashes. I'm not going to say that to Linda at work, even though Linda is a huge dumbass. You, Linda.
Move to strike the
words
lady's
as well.
words.
I would like
The lady's words again.
Ms. Greene, do you agree to unanimous consent to strike your words?
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll
All
strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection. So, Ms. Greene asked unanimous consent to strike her words. Mr. Raskin objected. I'm going to recognize Mr. Raskin for his objection. No, we're not counting against Ms. Greene.
This is your money going to work. This is what happens when you elect Republicans. It's never happened under
I reserve the
Pelosi.
right to object because the understanding of the
Never.
minority is that the gentlelady from Georgia would move to take her words down and strike her words and to offer a sincere apology for having engaged in personalities against another member, offending her personal appearance and insulting her. We don't do that in this committee. And I think the major problem was that we allowed pornography in this committee, and we've gone down a bad road. But in any event, we should not allow face-to-face ad hominem insults. It's totally contrary to the rules of the House of Representatives. And I would ask Ms. Greene if she would just make the apology. It's not that complicated. We don't want to get into face-to-face insults.
You will never get an apology out of me. I don't owe
Then
you
I
one.
object. Then I object, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Raskins objects.
I think we don't want to see a complete dissent of our committee.
Too late.
The verbatim quote of the gentlelady was, "I think your fake eyelashes are messing up your reading." That is what she said. I think your fake eyelash, and that's obviously engaging in personalities. It's an ad hominem attack, and I would just ask every member of this committee, in a fair-minded way, would you want to be talked to in that way about your personal appearance by another member of the committee? Because what we're doing is we're setting standards going forward.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Beach blonde, bad butch built body. Crockett is great because she fights. I rarely give money to congressmen that aren't mine, right? Out-of-state congressmen. But, I got to send something to Crockett for sure. And even on this YouTube channel, where we try to have a little fun in the midst of the Republic literally dying in front of our eyes, I still get whiny comments from people on the left saying, we need to be better than this. We need to be better than them. We need to virtue signal. As if that has worked for the last 8 years. No, I'll go back further. Because the stuff they said about Obama was disgusting. As if that has worked for the last 20 years. Taking the high road. When they go low, we go high. When they go low and we act like a bunch of we lose elections. And in many ways, the way social media has given bullhorns to these clearly terrible people on the right with terrible views, who are like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They'll just say the worst stuff in the world and then be like, oh, are you offended? Are you offended? That's their whole ideology. On the other side, and I'm a guy who never both sides it, but I'm going to both sides it now. It's not nearly as bad. But on the other side, social media has gave these people on the left a bullhorn to cry all day and to be. I will call Greene an exhibit of early man until I don't have to see her face anymore. Until I don't have to see her 1,000-year BC Neanderthal face anymore. And if you think that devalues some perceived high ground you have against the morons, well, then that's on you. Having said that, when I become a congressman, I will not say that to my fellow peers, even if there is a dumbass Linda.
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a.
Here comes Luna, the concern trolling.
Clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike
no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just.
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about it.
Voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down. Calm down.
And that's how Republicans are. They start it and then they cry.
I'm trying
Hey,
to
Miss
get
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
First off, did you see my girl Boebert trying to do the cross sign out there? She's doing like a pyramid, right? Does she think they crucified Jesus on a pyramid? Because I'm here to tell you, a pyramid does not work for crucifying because, you know, the arms, right? A pyramid is not the best shape for it. But hey, at least she tried. Second, and for anyone out there that's tried to have a conversation with a Republican in the last 10 years, all right, I'll do it again. Maybe the last 20 years. This is exactly how it is. They say some crazy shit. They throw out some insults. And then when you come back at them, it's just like Luna over there. You're out of control. Don't be so mean. This is exactly how they're trained to argue. This is exactly how they're trained to debate. This is exactly how they're trained to live their lives. Now back to my super religious girl Boebert, right? I mean, I did get kicked out of Catholic school after 2nd grade. Maybe this is how you do the cross. I don't know. But let's get back to her for a sec.
I just want to apologize to the American people. I don't think that this is the best use of our time when we are squabbling. It's one thing to have fun and laugh as members of Congress and try to find humor or some sort of lightheartedness in what we are doing. But when things get as heated as they have, it's unfortunately an embarrassment on our body as a whole. And so I just want to personally apologize to the American people for that.
Well, thank you for that, Lauren. If there's one thing Boebert's great at, it's lending a helping hand when it's needed. She's the type of person who will stroke a penis instead of stroke the flames. But after early man's outburst, devolving this night meeting they're having here in Congress, Boebert did not want to be outdone.
Well, it's not going to work. And with that, I yield back.
You know, every so often, Mr. Garcia, maybe you could just lift up that picture of our President Trump sleeping. As you say, I think he's praying. But if he is sleeping, you know, he certainly looks pretty while he sleeps. Maybe it's an endearing moment of prayer, though. I know when I fall asleep on airplanes, you know, my mouth kind of drops open.
Nice.
And, you know, his mouth is kind of tight-lipped. So
I hear your mouth kind of
maybe
drops
it's just
open
a
when you go to
somber
plays,
moment
too. But I digress. Because Lori was not done convincing us that the guy who's on trial for banging a porn star, paying her off, while his wife had just given birth to their son, while she's pretending he's praying his way through this trial, it gets even better.
He's sleeping.
But I just wanted to say that's a lovely picture you have of President Trump, Mr. Garcia. Thank you. And I yield.
Gentlelady yields back.
President Trump, when he was in office, he underwent testing for his cognitive dissonance, for his ability to function as President of the United States, as the Commander-in-Chief. And unfortunately, I haven't seen Joe Biden even read a teleprompter properly. I
haven't seen Joe Biden read properly. The number one rule when you're going in for a dunk is to land that dunk. Properly. And the number two rule when you go for a dunk, don't hang on the rim. Unless there's a guy beneath you and then it becomes a safety issue. But this only applies, Lauren's case only applies to rule number one of dunking. Now, most of you have seen this. You've seen most of it. You know, why you put this up on a Saturday? We've already seen it. Do some new content. But if you haven't, I want to get into why it was so spicy. Earlier in the clip, we heard Congressman Lynch allude to the fact that Comer is raising money off of this, specifically this super serial investigation.
Super serial.
Moskowitz does a great reading of the email. If you want to stick around, I'll put that at the very end of this episode and you can watch it. And just looking at this email, I mean, look at this. He has highlights in there. He has cursive. I think that's some win art at the top. He's used italics, underlining, bold, all on a single page. If some rando sent this to you begging for money, because that's what this email's about, and they type like this, their brain work like this, I don't think you're going to send that person some money. In fact, it kind of looks crackhead-ish. But I want to go back to when Lynch said this.
I would just like to ask the parliamentarian if your conduct here in raising money in connection with this hearing is referable to the Ethics Committee within this hearing. Is a motion in order to refer your conduct and your abuse of
It's not a point of order.
That's not a point of order. Comer doesn't think having a sham trial to then fundraise on, a sham trial that's so unimportant they're having this one at night, I'll tell you the reasons in a minute, he doesn't think that's a point of order. And you know, AOC jumped in there demanding an apology because she's right. Getting an apology from this lady right here, getting one apology from her will literally save democracy. It'll save the republic. But what Lynch is saying, and I realize Republicans don't like this because they only like the word lynch when it's in the same sentence as Mike Pence. But what he is saying is so important because with this email that Comer's sending around, he gives away his entire game. He gives away the intention for having this. It's all a show. Anyone out there who wants to take this bet, I'll give you 40 to 1 odds. I'll bet you $100, 40 to 1 odds. That means you get like $4,000 if I'm wrong. I'll bet you they never bring an impeachment against Joe Biden from this waste of time. Go ahead, hit me up. Let's do it. Because in a world where ethics matter, where the Republican self-righteousness matters, remember when they called themselves the party of personal responsibility? We're the party of personal responsibility. In a world where this matters, this email would not only be a red flag, it would be disqualifying. Disqualifying from not running this committee like Comer's doing, but from even being in it. Because if there were any rule of law Republicans out there, any serious Republicans, when stuff like this arises, it would start to peel them off. They'd be like, wow, that does look shady. But at the end of the day, the train the Republican Party is on, as we've learned time and time again, is not a train at all. It's a short bus. So they had this meeting at night. Everybody's kind of testy. Everybody wants to go home. Marge seems a little drunk. She's had a couple daiquiris. And you know the reason they had to have it at night? I could tell you, but I'd rather have my new favorite Congress lady tell you.
It's because we showed up ready to work earlier today, like we always do. And now it is currently 10 p.m., and we are still here because we are committed to doing the right thing. And my question is really simple. It's a matter of, if this was such a big deal, if it was a matter of an emergency, if this was so important as it relates to whether or not the President of the United States has done something so wrong, then why is it that we couldn't have our hearing at 11 o'clock this morning instead of members being in a criminal courthouse with a twice impeached, over 88 count indicted sexual abuser, instead of being here to do the work of the American people if this was serious? This is the reason that people don't believe that we are doing serious
Mr. Chairman,
work
point of order.
here.
I'd ask the
88 indictments, sexual abuser. I love her. I absolutely love her. I'm going to send her money today. And she's from Texas, which is proof that at least pockets of Texas, little hot pockets, are not complete trash. But to what she's saying, sometime last week, or maybe it was the week before, Donald Trump sent out the orders that he needs these people lining up in front of the courthouse to show their perceived support for him. To not only do that, but to also intimidate any jurors, intimidate witnesses, and even intimidate the judge's daughter. And it really does take a lot to shock me in this day and age, but to see them all dress up like this, in a uniform, for a dear leader. And I can't stress enough seeing elected officials like this, elected by us, who are supposed to represent us, who are supposed to be loyal to us, the people. They all have that sticker now, we the people. If only they knew what that meant, right? I can't stress enough them showing their loyalty to a singular cult of personality. How indicative that is that the United States, I believe, is already knocked out. I think we're just still on our feet. I believe we are knocked out on our feet. Seeing stuff like this, one step away from brown shirts, is not key signs that you live in a healthy democracy, that you live in a healthy republic. The Speaker of the House even showed up. The Speaker of the House, the Democrats voted to save last week because of how dysfunctional the Republican Party is. He has nothing better to do. He has no coalitions he should be building right now than to be at this trial. The chud who can't make it a single day without his son seeing what he's beat off to that day, or whatever that weird Jesus app is that he carries around and promotes. This self-righteous worm. This is him reading directly from a script that was provided to him by Trump. He came down, as aforementioned, can't look at porn without his son reviewing it. He came down to support Donald Trump. And I know Liz Cheney already said something similar to this, but still, it bears repeating one last time. He came down to support the guy who cheated on his wife, who had just given birth at that time, with a porn star, and had an entire relationship that we know of with McDougal on the side. I mean, what notification does his kid get on his Jesus app from that his dad's doing? Every single self-righteous Republican who calls themselves a Christian should be shamed at every turn from now until eternity. And they should never be ceded the higher moral ground in any argument on any subject. But the worst part is, they did this to my girl out in front of the courthouse.
I want all of the news to start asking the question,
They're all
what
running
is the
away
crime?
from her.
Because everyone in this court has not been informed of what the crime is. The defendant does
I'll
not
stay
know
by you, girl.
the crime that was committed.
I can fix her. I can fix her. She's yelling out she doesn't know what the crime is. She's yelling out that the defendant, big brain himself, doesn't know what the crime is. Well, maybe quit sleeping and farting all day in court. And maybe then you could catch up, bud. This is the 4th week of this trial. 4 weeks in. And no one in the Republican Party has even bothered to look beyond the propaganda. Lori, let's just go out to dinner and I can explain what the crime was to you. Donald Trump hid his payoff to a porn star through his companies, right? And he did it around the time that the election was coming, right after the Access Hollywood tape. So he was defrauding the electorate, us. This is something we should want. We ought to listen to James Comey and the Hillary stuff. Anthony Weiner, that Weiner. Yeah, we all had to hear that. We had all the information. In that case, we did have all the information, but I digress. He hid money to a porn star to defraud us of having all the information in a presidential election, which is illegal in New York. And this mother of the year, her son's a felon now who bangs underage girls. She missed, this is your Republican values, right? This is your Republican Party in 2024. She missed her son's court date, which was on the same day, to be at Trump's court date. You know what I mean? Comer is investigating Joe Biden for crimes for 3 years. Lauren Boebert missed her son's court date, missed being at work, had to push work to be at the person she solved for president. Like, what are we doing here? By the way, they were chanting Beetlejuice at Lauren Boebert, if you couldn't hear it in the audio. And if we want to take a second, because I do catch a lot from my mom and my wife when I joke about Lauren Boebert being, hot. I've done a little psychoanalysis on myself, and I think I know the reason why. As many of you know who are subscribers, I was born in a small hick town, surrounded by girls like Lauren Boebert. I imagine somewhere in my DNA, there's some Boebert gene that makes me think that. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. I'm probably going to get in trouble again with both the wife and the mom. They both get mad whenever I talk about it. So there you go. Let's get back to the episode. So the next person they had talk at this family values Republican Party was the guy who made underage girls' driver's licenses after hours so he could bang them.
Not seeing entered into it, and so we're here voluntarily supporting our friend President Trump, the leader of our movement, the leader of our party, and soon again the leader of this great country. And I want to hand it.
Let me give you guys a little tip. Whenever anyone makes a point to tell you that they're there voluntarily, I've been to plenty family events with the in-laws, so I can attest to this. Anyone who makes a point to tell you they're there voluntarily, they're not.
But outside is like Fort Knox. You can't get within 3 blocks of
outside is like Fort Knox.
And it's a shame what they do.
Donnie Big Brain, the biggest brain there is, he can't figure out why we don't want his supporters near a government building while proceedings are going on inside. It's a real head scratcher. It's a head scratcher if you're a moron. But don't worry, Donnie. Matt Gaetz is more than willing to take up your call to those neo-Nazi groups. And honestly, the sign behind Matt Gaetz kind of says it all. And as an aside note on the word bootlicker, I found out today that you can't say that on Threads, right? Because I guess these people identify, their pronouns are bootlickers. So they don't want you calling them that. It was also one of the words I wrote on our Facebook, which if you guys don't know, we used to have a Facebook, had like 30,000 people on it. It was fully monetized. There's a pretty good group of people. I've always liked YouTube better. But that was in one of the last things I wrote on my Facebook before the Zuck decided to just kill that page with no warning, no chance to retract it, no chance to fight it, no anything. But I digress. I'm still pretty mad about it. It was a nice place to be. But let's get back to the episode. And I'll close the episode by saying this. If Comer's committee was actually, if this oversight committee was actually focused on the corruption amongst politicians, all these theatrics, they wouldn't be necessary. A horribly formatted plea for money would not be necessary. I mean, this thing almost looked like a ransom note. You just have to look at the reason why this committee had to meet at night. They were there to support this lifelong criminal outside one of the few times in his entire life he's actually had a consequence for one of his actions. But it gets even worse than that, because they weren't there just to show support. Support that he demanded that they show up and do. The other part of the marching orders they gave him was to shout out the name of the judge's daughter, to try to intimidate the jury, to shout out the name of witnesses. Trump's CFO is in jail for cooking the books, right? He was part of the Stormy Daniels payoff also. He's the one who wrote the note on the napkin about Cohen. Donald Trump's lawyer is in jail, John Eastman. And Donald Trump's other lawyer just got out of jail to testify against him. The politician who is a criminal is the criminal. The calls are coming from inside the House, Republican Party.
The Republican Party doesn't follow through on what they say and promise. So I'm doing everything.
I'm with the guy in the back. Good. Thanks for watching The Chud Report. If you guys enjoyed this episode, you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. We got a great community here. Great people follow this channel. The OGs, the new people, the people in the middle. They're all great people. I can vouch for them. We have debates coming up. We have verdicts coming up. So I'm going to have to start doing lives again, right? I told you guys I like to do lives when events happen. So it's a pretty good reason to become a member. Your comments are highlighted. I see them easier. There's other membership perks. I wouldn't call them perks. I put up a new Chad the Chud, the character arc one. I put it up this week. Some people like them. To the people who don't like them, I'm sorry. Please stay members. But to everyone here, thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for supporting this content. And I told you I would show Maskowitz. Did I say his name wrong? It's late in the episode. No one cares. I told you I would show him reading Comer's email out loud. So for you that stuck around, here you go. The Chud Report.
Chair recognizes Mr. Moskowitz.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, so welcome to Oversight After Dark. If you love James Comer at 11 o'clock in the morning, you're really going to love him at 8:30 p.m. So members, the hearing was moved today. We don't have to ask the question. The hearing was moved today so that members could go to New York and attend the Trump hearing. But how's he doing? He's complained that he's chilly in the courtroom. Is it chilly? Is it chilly?
Will the gentleman yield?
No, I'll assume it's
He's
chilly.
He's doing very good.
Okay, good. So, you know, it was mentioned by the ranking member about really what we're doing here. You don't have to listen to my words. I would like to do a spirited reading of the campaign email sent out by the chairman. And it's on lovely stationery. In fact, it says, from the desk of the oversight chairman. I'm not sure you can do that, but I'm not an ethics expert. It says, friend. President Biden is exerting executive privilege in a last-ditch attempt to stop the disastrous audio recording of his interview with special counsel from being released. And it's highlighted in yellow. Want to make sure people saw that. Just a few months ago, the White House bragged that Joe Biden had nothing to hide and would not exert executive privilege during special counsel Hur's investigation. They even said he had nothing to hide. That's in italics. Now Biden and his advisors are terrified that I, James Comer, will release the recordings, forcing the media and the Democrats to answer for the dismal decline of Biden's mental state. He even had attorney Merrick Garland write a letter saying that his interview falls within the scope of executive privilege. This could be the final blow with swing voters across the country. Okay. You and I know, hold on, we're not done, it gets better. You and I know he's not up for the job, but the mainstream's media refusal to report on it as only keeping him in the game. Stand with Comer. The Democrats, you sure about that? The Democrats are pulling out all the stops to stop the bleeding. That means coming after me with everything they had. If you're able, we hope you are, I'd be so grateful if you'd consider making a donation to my campaign. I sure need it to defend against the onslaught of attacks. Thank you for everything. James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Without objection, I'd like to enter that into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
All right, beautiful.